Howdy, everybody in YouTube land. What we have in front of us today is a pile of Toshiba stuff. So this is another one of those videos is to see if we can build one working machine from a pile of parts, from a pile of scrap. So first off, let me preface this by saying a couple things. These particular machines are known for two major problems. We've probably seen these in earlier videos of mine, but if not, I'm going to reiterate. Problem number one is brittle plastic disease. In fact, when I originally took that machine apart, this is what happened. It crumbled into a pile of pieces. But on top of that, the second, in my opinion, bigger flaw is right here. These little Varda batteries. They leak so bad, and the problem is they sit literally right here above the board. And if we take a close look at the corrosion that it's caused on this motherboard. You can see the connector. That connector won't remove. I'm going to have to pull it off. But you can see the corrosion surrounding it through the vias and all of that. And if I flip this board over and we look on the bottom side here, you can see that it's come through the board and it's eaten out some of the vias and traces and stuff like that. So that is a problem with these types of machines. This machine does not post, I don't think. And that is likely why. So this became a parts machine. So this has been sitting around for a little bit. What I ended up doing was picking up another one of these machines from VCF Southwest. So hopefully, and it did run. So hopefully between the two machines, we can make one good one. And you could tell this one's got a lot of hours on it because everything is just kind of rubbed off on the keyboard. And also, the palm rest, these buttons are completely broken. It's just brittle. So, but the cool thing about that machine is, look, it is the TFT display module, or model. Whereas the one I just picked up is a passive matrix model. So I'm thinking, between the two of these, I can make one good one. Like, this one is still in decent shape. It's not broken yet. The keyboard doesn't have nearly the amount of wear on it. And then, of course, the display is passive matrix. It's got, I mean, it's brittle because look what happened here. So, it is brittle. It's the 435 CDS, where this one is the 430, so it's a little bit newer. But I'm hoping all of the parts interchange and that I can get this off without too much trouble. But honestly, I don't know. I'm not really holding high hopes for that, but we shall see. So, between them all, hopefully we can make one good working one, but honestly, I don't know. But yeah, this one is so brittle that when I took the battery out, it's just snap. It's literally that brittle. So, I don't know. We shall see. And unfortunately, both of them have the same problem where this is missing and whatever went here is also missing. So these just fall apart. So, all right. Let me clear all this out of the way and let's get this apart so I can see what's going on in here, and if between the two boards we can make something that will work. In order to do that, though, we've got to get this apart because the batteries sit underneath this keyboard, and you can't get this keyboard out without pulling this trim ring off, and you risk this happening because of how bad these things are now. But it has to come apart. It's a cool machine because it's a Pentium class machine. But yeah, we got to get it apart. Plus, we got to get in there anyways because we need to check the inverter. We need to check the power supply. In fact, the power supply module. I'm careful, I don't want to bend this. Is right here. And I don't know how good the parts are in there, or how many caps are leaking or anything like that, but attention has to be paid. Anyways, yeah, I keep getting sidetracked. Let's get this machine apart. There's exactly the problem. Break, break, break. At least it didn't split it in half. I was very careful with it, but it's definitely an issue because now I have to figure out how to get all of this crap glued back on, or it's not going to want to stay in there. Because there's a lot of... Anyways. So there's that one, that one, that one. And if you look, you can kind of see where it's stress cracked. This thing is brittle. I mean, it's not as brittle as the other one was, but it's still very, very brittle. So that is not going in back in there until I know 100% that everything is good. Because otherwise it looks weird without it. So perhaps I just break all those damn clips off and just set it in here and just kind of like tack it in place so it doesn't go anywhere. I don't know. This is hard to deal with, but yeah. That's what I mean right there. Those Vardas do some serious, serious damage. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be salvageable, but we'll keep taking it apart anyway, just because I need some of the other parts like this. I got the top cover loose because I need to try to clean this up and salvage this top cover because I need that for the other unit because the buttons aren't broken. So I need this just to kind of make sure it's not that broken, but I need this because of the situation, but those are molded into the plastic, so I kind of need to save this top cover. But anywho, let's take a look at this motherboard. Yeah, buddy. That's that is not salvageable. That is shot. Yikes. These things have a lot of screws, so pay attention when you take them all the way apart because they're all different lengths. So just to document, we have, all these screws in here. I haven't taken any more screws out except the bottom cover and whatever it took to get the top off. That's it. But to get the rest of these out, you just got to pay attention to where they all go and their lengths because they're all different. In fact, here's our... Yeah. So there you go. This thing is not going to be repairable. I mean, look at this. That's terrible. It's beyond repair. Now, you could, if you had the audacity and time and all of that, clean all this up and probably run a bunch of patch wires and run, connections through those. But I tell you, I mean, those look like they only run off to the floppy connector anyways. But point is, it's not worth the time. So this thing is going to go off into the ether. But otherwise, I have the plasticky bits for the other one. So what I need to do is take a look at the other one and see how bad it is. Because it's also got damage in here as well. Although, I don't think it's got as much. Now here's the other motherboard. This one is not nearly as bad. I mean, there is some issues down here. But what I ended up doing was checking all these critical traces. Like, there's... on the other side, you can't see it, but these three go to the main chip. They run through here and back over to... there's some vias right there next to this cap. So they run through these three here that are in rough shape. So I checked them through. They're fine. I checked the traces here. They're fine. Although that one's open. That one doesn't matter because that is just a test point and that's the standby battery. Anyways, I don't care about that. The CMOS battery is okay. I'll put one in there if I need it, but for now I'm not going to. But yeah, all of the critical traces through here are good. I checked this trace. I checked everything, and I'm not seeing any problems, even on the other side here. Because like I said, these three run through the dingy part of the board, but they end up over there. And I checked them between here, and they're fine. All these caps here are fine. Everything's fine. So I'm pretty confident that this board is going to be alright. So I think the next thing we need to do is we need to address a couple things on this board. So right here, there's a 56 at 16. It's not leaking yet, but it needs addressed. These little Oscons I'm not going to worry about. They're polymer caps. And then of course this little 100 mic at 6.3 volt needs addressed as well. So definitely these two, while I have this apart, I'm going to give these two some attention. Both of these caps were replaced. Now, neither one of these was showing a sign of leakage at all. but I just went ahead and changed them anyways, just based on the age of this machine from about 1996. I want to say this thing was made. Yeah, 96 into 97. So just wanted to make sure it's taken care of, because the last thing I want to do is button this thing all the way back up just to find out one of these went bad. So that is what we are doing. With that out of the way, I can go ahead and start getting the bottom case assembled, and then we'll start working our way up from there. Yeah, that's the other thing too with how strange rubber can be. Like, for example, this one, the feet are petrified, hard as a rock. I pulled this one out, and you can just, it's like turned into plastic. Whereas this one, the rubber is still perfect. And in other ones, they melt. It's so weird. So I need to get these feet off. I'm thinking about moving those feet over. I don't know, we'll see. Because this is the 435 CDS bottom, and this is the CDT bottom. So I'd rather get this one good, and then deal with that one some other way. But yeah, it's fun. I'm about as far as I can go with this right now. Before I can continue putting this back together, I need to get into this power supply and take a look-see and see what kind of capacitors we have in there that we need to deal with. So, getting that power supply out of its little sarcophagus was not fun, because it required peeling the tape off and then unsoldering these two leads that are on the bottom here, as well as shoving this guy through this little opening here as I'm sliding it out. Anyways, it's now out of there. So what we have is not a whole lot. I'm pretty sure this is just your 15 volt brick that's just been skinnified and shoved in there. But we've got a 220 at 25. We've got a 120 at 25, which I know I don't have. And then in here we've got a pair of, I'm not sure, I gotta get those out. And to do that, we've got to get this little plastic retaining ring out of here, because it is in the way. Easier said than done. There we go. That's out of the way. And that allows us to bend these over and see what we have. That's a 56 at 35. I know I have those. This is a 39 at 50, which I don't have. I gotta look and see if I've got a... Closest I'm gonna have is a 33 or a 47, which may or may not work depending on this design. Ooh. Ooh, you can see it kind of like... Ugh. Let's see. Oh, it smells great. Yeah. It's leaking. Yeah, it's leaking. So we've got to pull those out. Yay! Oh well. Is what it is. But at least we're getting to it now. Besides smelling it when I was unsoldering it, you can tell right away which one was leaking and which one's not. Like, that one looks okay, but that one does not. And then those were the two that were over here. But these two on the other side don't show any signs of it yet. Well, maybe a little, like right there. But yeah, they just started, like literally just started. I caught it in the nick of time. And these are the LXF series, all four of them, which are a known bad series in the older stuff. There, all four of them are in there. I left that one alone, and I left that one alone because it's a polymer cap. So we should be good to go. So we're going to get this guy back together. The next thing on our recap list is this card right here. Now, this is the audio card. Has a nice little ESS 688 audio drive. Cool little card. Great for DOS games. But, as you can see, we've got some surface mount electrolytics, plus these little weird sideways cans. They all need to go. I'm not seeing any evidence of leaking yet, but you know as well as I do, not long before they do. So, let's prevent a problem before it starts. Last time, we're actually getting ahead of the curve. Now, I'm going to probably spray these out real quick with contact cleaner after the fact, but first off, let's get those replaced. And there we have it. All of the caps are in there now. I don't have any 10s at 16s. I've got tantalum versions though, so I put that there and over here because that's what we got. And then we have a 47 at 6, so I just put in a 47 at 10. That's what I have on hand. That's what's going in there. So this little board's done. There's no other caps that I can see, so we're good to go there. Getting this apart was a pain in the ass. I took this one apart first, the CDS display, because I don't care about it. If this plastic was brittle, I don't care if it blew apart. Fortunately, it didn't. I mean, it is brittle, but it's not the kind of brittle I was thinking. So I wanted to get the hinges out because they're corroded from the battery goo, and I need this top cover, so I'm going to transplant the parts from the other one onto this one. But one thing I wanted to make a quick note of is these standoffs. Look, it does the same thing that the PowerBooks do. So what we're going to have to do is the same thing. We're going to have to take the MEK solution, get it in there, soften it up, and then use my soldering iron and like a pair of hemostats or something and squeeze it while heating it up to get that to reseal, just like the PowerBook series. So that's what we're going to do with these. Now, I've noticed every single one of these plastics are ABS polycarbonate blend, and those are kind of, anyways. I did notice, though, we've got standard traditional wires, but the panel has got this connector, and it's got this little bridge board in here to do that. Also, I noticed most of these inverters have an interesting coil line that's really loud. Well, this one doesn't appear to have any caps that leak on it, with the exception of like this one here, potentially. But I don't know if it's leaking. Now, I didn't look at the other panel yet to know if the inverter is even the same, but it's something to keep in mind. So, anyways, moving right along, let's get this cover prepped up. Well, I just got the cover off of this one off. Fortunately, it didn't break. Oh, man. So it looks like the inverter is identical. So we've got the same exact inverter. Now I'm going to test the display. I'm going to test everything before I snap that trim back on here, just to make sure it's all good. Yeah, because I don't know the screen's condition. I don't know the inverter's condition. There's a lot of things I don't know. So the big thing for me, though, is I need to replace this top cover. In order to do that, I have to disassemble this entire thing so I can get these hinges out. So I took the top cover apart on the other one. I took everything apart, and I'm noticing this plastic. Some plastic is brittle than others. Like this is solid. It hasn't flexed. It hasn't broke. It hasn't done anything. This stuff, however, is made out of the same material as the keyboard ring. Like, look how brittle it is. It's literally just cracking apart. I guarantee if I see, look at this. Yeah, see, it's done. This is crap. Before I start loosely reassembling the LCD display, there's two things I need to do. One, I'm going to throw a capacitor in this inverter just to get it out of the way. And this is a 10 microfarad at 35 volt, which I think I have those in my low profile stash. I'm not too sure on that, but I think I do. Secondly, the LCD panel itself, we got one right here. This is a 22 at 16. So that's the only one I see. That one's going to get changed. I need to get this stuff out of the way before I start reassembling this thing, because I don't want to get in here again. To no one's surprise, it's leaking. But I went ahead and put a new one in. The only problem is it's a little bit taller because they don't make them that short anymore. So getting that to clear in here is going to be a little bit of gymnastics. Hopefully it'll go, but I don't know. Tell you what, trying to get in there was really, really tough, and I still managed to melt the plastic, but fortunately there was no signs of leakage with that one, or even a stench, so it was probably fine, but I changed it anyways because, yeah, I don't want to get back in here again. Now, the last thing that needs attention is the video card. Remember, we've got these little boxy caps that look like tantalums, but they are not, so they're going to need to be replaced. Also, one is for the TFT model, one is for the passive model, and if we take a look at it, they're different. The chips are also different, even though they got the same parent part number. One's the ES and one is not. And also, one has the header populated and one does not. So that one there is the TFT version, and this one is the passive matrix version. So you can clearly see there is a difference between the two cards. Before I start ripping and tearing capacitors off here, I want to make a note of what they are. So we have two 47s at 6 volt. We have a 33 at 6 volt, 33 at 6 volt, and a 22 at 6 volt. Unfortunately, I don't have any 33s on hand, so what I'm probably going to do is just replace all of those with 47s. I do have some 22s on hand, but I've got 47s in tantalum, so that's what I'll use here. I'm probably crazy, but I actually have no idea if this thing's going to run, especially after putting all of that work into it. I don't even know if this board posts, especially with the battery damage there, so we're going to find out. There's no lights or anything because that would normally plug in there. But I don't know. Does it run? I can't tell. Oh, wow. It is. It's posting. That is awesome. So we've got, wow, we've got a working machine. It's not liking that we don't have a hard drive or anything in it. Let's see. What if I hit the reset button? Reboot. No post. Oh, there it is. Yep. We're good. The screen's kind of yellowed, like really badly. But hey, you know what? We got a booting machine. We got a booting machine. Well, somewhat. We know it posts, so the board runs. Graphics card initializes. Now, before I go through all the hell in a handbasket of putting this thing back together, I kind of want to see if that passive matrix display is any good before I actually go and put it in my spare parts bin, because if the passive matrix display is junk, I'm going to get rid of it. So let me test all of that too. Alright, here we go. Let's check the passive matrix display. Turn the power on. Don't actually know if it's running. No. Maybe. Oh, there we are. Yeah, it works. So we have a functional passive matrix display. God, that's nasty. Crappy. But you know what? It's running. Let me hit the reboot button. Make sure it renders text. Let's see. I should just plug the hard drive into it and see what happens. Yeah, we get it. We're good. We're good. All right. Good enough. Oh, we got beeps. So there we go. We are functional with a passive display. So I can put that in my spare parts bin. Keyboard is just kind of loosely fitted in there because it's got to be tested anyways, because I don't even know. All right. Hard drive spun up. Hopefully it posts. It should. And it's going to want me to press F1. All right, we got color, blah, blah, blah. The screen has had it. All right, we're going to exit, end. We're going to save, which it won't save it anyways, but because there's no Varda battery in there anymore for obvious reasons. All right, so here we go. How much RAM does it have on board? 16 megs. Alright, well, it looks like the drive is no good. There's no operating system on the drive anyway, so it must have been wiped before I got it, which would make sense. Fortunately, it looks like this motherboard has issues too. I'm not surprised. It froze in the BIOS and it doesn't post. So, let's turn the power back off. See if it'll post again. Because I don't know. No, she's done. That sucks. That really sucks. I thought I had a good one. But I guess not. Is what it is, I suppose. My thought is going to be where the battery had leaked, some of the vias looked corroded. Even though they were conducting through the board without a problem, I have a suspicion that one of them just opened up. And that's it. That's why it died. Now the problem is, without a schematic, trying to figure out which one went open is going to be fun. So taking this back apart, trying to get the motherboard out, I just noticed something. One of my lead clippings fell down in there. That's what happened. It fried the board. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. That's probably the end of the road of this one. So, this, unfortunately, is going to be a fail video. Because I guarantee that is done now. Wow. Wow. I just threw all the parts in that box for right now, so unfortunately, there's not a whole lot I can do because I don't have a functional board to trace out where the open via or whatever is. I took out the BIOS chip, read it, it's fine. So something, I don't know, it's hard to say what happened. So either the wire fell on there as a fluke, maybe it was just one of the vias opened up. I checked it all again. I didn't see anything, but then there's a lot of traces that go in the middle layers of the board, and I don't know where they go without a working board to compare to. And the problem is, in trying to get another board would be impossible just because of where they put the batteries on all of those, and they're all going to be damaged at this point. So unless I can come into some parts, that's going to be it for this video. There might be a part 2 if I get another board, or I get enough energy to possibly troubleshoot that one. But right now, I don't have the energy, so that's going to be it for this one. It's going to be unfortunately, a failed project. Unless, of course, I find another board and we can have a part 2. But that's going to be it. It's the unfortunate reality of retro tech sometimes. So, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have one. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching.